Hey everyone, Phil here from Warhammer Online, and I am joined by Luke and Liam.
Harder.
Tonight we're going to be having a belated look at the Destruction Battletome Ogor Mawtribes. It's all about the ogres, and if not, the Mawtribes, I suppose. It's 50-50, I'd say, on this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been out a bit. We've had a chance to have a look at it. You've been poking through it, because I think... What would you say is the general reception of the Ogor Mawtribes Battletome so far? Did we see them at doubles? So they came out at the same time as
No, they were a week after doubles.
I thought they came out at the same time as Oryx. Is that not the case?
No. The ones that came out of Oryx were free cities.
This was the
These got announced a week afterwards. That came out the duo Type of Bone release.
Of course, they came with the Type of Bone release, didn't they? Yeah.
So that was only a couple of weeks ago. If
yeah.
that. So it's been out for like a couple of weeks. But
what are we hearing? What's the general reception so far?
On foot ogres are better than the beast claws now, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I've played 2 games against this book, actually, thinking about it. And in both instances, one was just a full-on beast claw list. And beast claw on their own, in many respects, don't really work, I think, anymore.
Not as viable as they used to be.
Not as viral as a standalone faction, doesn't really work as much. But saying that, there's a lot of cute stuff in the book that I think if you add that to the beast claws, you know, and it's one of those things. I mean, I'm talking specifically, and you've probably seen the battle reports with Jack's Beast Claw Raiders, which had that whole shaggy fur and cloaks and all that lot. And it's just saying, take the foot ogres, give them furry cloaks, stick a woolly,
big old Russian hat,
yeah, a woolly hat on, ski hat, you know, dealy boppers. Yeah. Jobs are good, and you know, at the end of the day, it's just a full battle tome now, and you don't have to worry too much. You know, the guys on foot can be just as much as part of a Beast Claw Raider army.
It's the fact that you can screen your big monsters now, because you had to ally in screens for the
absolutely
not shagoffs, the Stonehorns.
Yeah,
with like the little noblars and stuff. When you don't have to do that now, because it's all in one allegiance.
Yeah, it's good.
So, introduction in. We'll do a quick catch up on the chat, but we're going to push on with this show because I think we're probably going to be around for about 40 minutes. I think.
Yeah, we'll just quickly go through it. It's already being reviewed. Just go through.
See what we like.
Stuff.
Have a bit of a giggle. Okay, let's just catch up on the chat. Coleman's in there. Thank you very much, Coleman. Demon Lizard from Outer Space. Hello, painting some wanderers for my Cities of Sigmar. Time to hunt down some ogres. Cities of Sigmar. I just think that's a beautiful modelling opportunity, that army, isn't it? You can just put whatever you want into that.
Yeah, ideas you can do in that.
Yeah, and you know, go across that sort of Necromunda range and go across like you know, Warcry and stuff like that. You can
do anything.
You don't have to go with the old models if you don't want to go with the old models, but there's so much you can do in that army. It's incredible. Sean Blake saying, this channel's still going. Yes it is. I don't know whether you saw the test stream we did last week, but we were offline for quite some time due to technical failure. So I'm afraid everything blew up, and it took us a while to get a stream machine up and running. The good news is not only is the stream machine up and running, we've been recording tonight as well. So you're going to see some non-live content coming soon. I'll be handing that over to the editor, and bat reps as well. So let's get on with it. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what we're doing with the channel. You'll see these ugly people a little bit more often. That's not fair, actually. You're both beautiful people. He's ugly.
Probably more Liam
than ugly. I'll just put my hands down. I am the ugliest one.
Probably more Liam, definitely.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
You know, you're going to see a few more people on the channel as well, and we'll talk about that in the future as well. What else? Coleman just getting everybody up to speed on the deadness of the equipment. Scarecrow 1908 says, hey everyone, glad to catch this one. I'm painting Mawtribes right now for the for the Throne of Skulls singles in Feb. We've got to be really careful about how much you talk about the list then. You know, I don't want you to help this guy out because I'm going to be there with my subpar Fire Slayers list.
Beat you up with Fire Slayer models, just like
Scarecrow. Both myself and Jack are planning on doing that one, so that'll be great. We'll hopefully see you there. I'm taking Fire Slayers, and I think Jack is.
He's Daughters of Cain.
Daughters of Cain. So, and I really like the format of that. We'll talk a little bit about that later, maybe. Underdog Painting. Haven't done any Age of Sigmar yet. Looking to see what army would be great to do. Ogres is good, and it's got a low model count generally, so, well, depends. Well, glad to see them back. And Demon Lizard from Outer Space, conversions of Sigmar. There's been a lot of conversion work going off here as well, so maybe we'll talk about that. Luke, over to you. We're up to speed on the chat. you want to talk a little bit about the book? What's your impressions, and then get into the stuff that you'd like to look at?
It's good that they've put everything into one, so you can make it all work together, and it just gives you a lot of variety.
Yeah,
we're looking for it. Yeah, I mean,
I think like I say with Jack, he's already been looking. He's looking at the foot soldiers now, and he's looking at the cannons and those kind of things, and whatever that unit's called. And he's going, you know what? Put some fur on them. Put a bit of snow on their base. It's just an ogre army. It'll look great, you know.
All right. From like the wastes of the tundra, just coming in.
Okay, let's get into the book. Whoa, that's the inside. That's the cover. There we are. That's the end of the review. What did you think so far? What do you want to cover first? Come on. Is it logical to start with allegiance abilities, or are you just going to skip backwards and forwards and talk about... Because it's been reviewed, yeah?
Yeah, we could just quickly skip... No, we'll not read through them, we'll just skip through it. So you got Beast Claw Raiders. They do D3 mortal wounds if they're close to an enemy. And then you've got the ogres. If they're not close to an enemy, they can add 2 to the move, so make them a little bit faster. Ogres now count as 2 models instead of 1 for capturing objectives and stuff. It's just all effective abilities now to make them a lot better than they were.
Cool. So what, you've been picking out a couple of lists and a couple of units. How do you want to pick this out? Do you want to go into the units? Do you want to go into the factions? What are you thinking? What have you noticed?
I've written a list that doesn't use any of the Mawtribes. I've looked through the scrolls and just picked out a list that I thought would be quite effective in match play.
Well, that's as good a place as any to start. Tell us about your list, and then we can kind of jump into the rules of why you've gone that route. Yeah.
So if we could go through. So this list has got 2 the Stonehorns, Frost Lords.
I was going to say, is that the Frost Lord?
And they're just very effective at doing damage. And then the list has got the Skull Battalion, so the Hunter's the general, and he's got a load of saber tusks, and they become battle line when the Hunter's the general. So that sorts out the battle line out, and it gives you the battalion to give both your Frost Lords an artifact. And they can both have mount traits.
What?
So they do. They're expensive, but they do a lot of damage.
Hunter as general, Sabertusk as your battle line.
Yeah. So there's a unit of 12 Sabertusk.
Right.
And then 3 units of 2.
3 units of 2. So that's okay, gotcha.
A unit of Yetis, and then there's 60 Noblars, a Tyrant, and two Frost Lords.
So when we said, it's a good place to start because it's a low model count, until you start seeing things like 60 Noblars in there. But they're really tiny models, aren't they?
They're tiny.
You can just hit them with a dry brush.
Yeah, they're just effective with the Tyrant. The Tyrant now allows you to, if you go to it, it allows you to make a unit immune to battle shock for the whole game. So it just makes that combo very, very good.
So this is the command ability Bully of the 1st degree. You can use this ability in your hero phase. If you do so, pick 1 friendly Gutbuster unit within 3 inch of a friendly model with this command ability. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, but you do not have to take battle shot tests for that unit
for the rest of the battle.
For the rest of the battle.
So which makes them screens very. So one of the Stonehorns has got a thermal rider. So he can be wrapped around Noblars, not really die to combat. He could get magicked off or shot off.
But you've got the 5 of ignore mortal wound now.
You can fly
so you give him
the
thermal cloak, which gives you the fly keyword and +4 move.
Yeah.
So what does that take that up to? Jeez, that's a Frost Lord is what?
So he'd be
16-inch move with fly.
18 if he's not close to the enemy, because he gets +2 to his move.
Oh.
So you got an 18-inch move with the fly keyword. So my conversion that I'm working on for my orcs is perfect then, isn't it? This is just going to end up being an ogre army, isn't it? Let's face it.
And the other artifact, I give him the one from the actual, what the Frost Lords can take, and it allows him to reroll all hits and wounds and his saves. I can't remember what it's called.
Just a little bit further.
It's got to be further forward, isn't it? So hold on a second, guys.
And you can read
Paths
it out.
to Glory. Where am I going?
Keep going.
Keep going. I think it's before all of this, isn't it? Yeah, here we go.
So it's the Frostlord mount trait, and you want to be looking at the. Do you want to say that? I won't read that very well.
Which one is this? This is the Alvarg rune token, yeah? Mount Alvarg. Right, so once per battle at the start of your hero phase, the bearer can use this artifact. If they do so until the start of your next hero phase, you can reroll hits, wounds for attacks made by the bearer, and reroll save rolls for attacks that target the bearer. Insane. So you're hitting, rerolling hits, rerolling wounds, and what was that? Rerolling saves?
Rolls.
But it's one use only, but it's just good for when you need to.
Okay, once per battle, yeah. So I thought that was once per turn then. I was just like, what? No, okay, once per battle. But you're right. You know when you know, most people when they're going into a game, you know which turn you're going to use that in. You've kind of built your strategy around it. It's a bit like the extended charge I've been working on with the Fire Slayers for the Rune Sons. I know the turn that I'm going to play that stuff, depending on where the enemy deploys, but I've got a good idea when I'm going to hit that stuff in the game.
Yeah.
And like you say, it's that turn when you're going to go in and do massive damage, take out that most important unit in your opponent's army, and you're re-rolling hits, wounds, and saves.
Yeah.
That's sick.
It's good. It's good. And then
That's really good.
They got their mount traits for the Frost Lords, so we'll quickly go through them.
There you go.
So I've given them the metal cruncher, and this enables you to go through high armor saves and war machines. Just does D6 mortal wounds immediately.
So this is at the start of the combat phase. Pick one enemy war machine or one enemy unit with a save characteristics of 4, 3, or 2+. That's within 3 inches of the model. The enemy unit immediately suffers D6 mortal wounds. It's nice.
That's mean.
That's nice against something like the unit that I can never remember the name of. What's the Vampire Lord on the...
Zombie Dragon.
The Zombie Dragon, yeah, which can get pumped up on its save.
Terrorgeist.
Terrorgeist.
All monsters have got 4-up save.
True.
Good at killing
True.
other monsters.
It's just a nice little D6 pump of mortal wounds, isn't it?
Yeah. And
Okay.
And that because it's at the start of the combat phase, so you can do your charge. So you could really weaken like the stuff that's going to make you
just
go
push
last,
something
or
down one or
that's
two
gonna
brackets.
Hit,
yeah, exactly.
Because they're going
just...
to hit you before you can strike. When
True.
you get in there.
True. You know what? Even doing that against
A keeper.
A keeper, yeah. So you hit the keeper with that, because we all know the keeper's at its best when it's at its best.
And
Sounds
it's got defense
obvious.
against the keepers now, the Stonehorns, because they've got the 5-up mortal wound ignore, whereas the keeper does mortal wounds. So that was always a thing with it.
Yeah, because now all ogres, when they charge, you roll the dice, and if you're just a normal ogre unit on a 6+, you do a mortal wound. So you roll a 10-inch charge, you roll 10 dice. But monsters do that on a 4+. So when they charge in on an average roll, you're doing like 3 or 4 mortal wounds. Then you're doing
Plus
you're doing another 3 there.
Yeah.
So
You're
you
gonna-
wipe out a unit in the charge.
On average, you take them down maybe a bracket, maybe 2 brackets.
Possibly 2 brackets. Yeah. Sweet.
So just
Really good.
and it just helps you crunch through all those. Like the new in the Bone Reapers, you got the Mortek Guard with the 3-up rollable save.
So you're thinking this is definitely 2 of these in the list just for that super. I mean, that'll make Jack happy because he always built his Beastclaw Raiders
with Stonehorns.
Stonehorns slamming as hard as possible. He really loves stuff like that.
Yeah,
And that's why he thought that-
I wrote this list because you probably want to do something like this because it's not really got any ogres
I'm
in.
gonna have to take his army up to Warhammer World now. I
So
hate
you need
transporting
60
his armies.
Noblars.
60 Noblars. Hey, then, while I were there, the Noblar model, is it Finecast or is it plastic? I'm not familiar with those.
I
'Cause
think they got a plastic kit, but then they used to do Noblar Traffers, which were fine cast.
are they still available
No, I think so.
right? Because the trappers had like furry coats and stuff.
Yeah,
Didn't
they were cool.
they? Okay, looks like some digging on eBay. But don't bid against me until I've got Jack sorted, yeah?
So the list has got the block that's hard to get through because it just doesn't die to bravery.
You know what? 60 of them, no, it's going to be plastic. I'm not. You're never going to track down 60 of those things anyway, are you? Okay, cool.
Oh, sorry, it has got an ogre and it's got the tyrant.
Oh,
So,
okay.
one
And
ogre.
the, what do you call it, dude on foot, the Icebrow.
Yes, and the hunter, which is the general.
Yeah, and Jack's always used his Fenrisian wolves instead because he went with that kind of like wolf clan kind of mountainous range type stuff. He used wolves rather than the sabers. He kind of felt it had that more kind of wintry, shaggy feel to them. So I know he's got the wolves because he just basically rebased from his Space Wolves army, I think, is where, because it's Fenrisians, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm.
Cool.
So there's a combo with the hunter that you can do. And also, it's a general just to get cheap battle line in the army.
Yeah.
But if we just read his scroll, I'll let you do that, and then we'll go through what I've given to him to make him effective.
There's so many mounts and heroes on mounts.
It's worth mentioning before we jump into that, because when you come into the mounts, of course, the one thing that Jack noticed is Mornfang feel they've taken a real kick in the teeth. That's what he felt. He was like, Mornfang, he really liked that unit, but it just feels like they're not really on the table now, you know?
Yeah.
In the bin. Okay. Icebrow Hunter. So, Icebrow Hunter, he's got, a couple of missile weapons. And a couple of melee weapons. He's got a throwing spear, 9-inch, 1 attack, falls, 3s to wound, -1 rend, D3 damage. Hunter's crossbow. I'm assuming he has to pick one or the other, does he? No, he's armed with all of this. 12-inch range, 1 attack, falls, 3s, D3 damage from the crossbow, and the Hunter's culling club, 4 attacks, 3s, 2 damage, and the gulping bite, of course. 1 attack, 3s, 1 damage, no rend on both of those latter. So profile-wise, but this is not what it's about. This is it? It's not about what he can do in combat.
It's all right.
He's all
He's
right.
120 points.
He's got some
effective damage.
Yeah, 4 attacks, 2 damage. Like you say, 2 damage is always statistically better than a -1 rend.
And 7 wounds is all right.
7 wounds is good. Do you want to go? Shall I go through the abilities quickly? In your shooting phase, so this is the Icy Breath. You can say that this model will attack with its Icy Breath instead of attacking with its missile weapon. If you do so, pick 1 enemy unit within 6 visible to it, roll the dice, 4 up. Enemy suffers D3 mortal wounds. We're back to just pumping out more mortal wounds again, which is always good. Master of Ambush. This looks interesting. Instead of setting up the model on the battlefield, you can place it to one side and say it's set up in ambush as a reserve unit. If you do so, when you would set up a friendly Frost Saber unit, instead of setting the unit up on the battlefield, you can say that it is joining this model in ambush as a reserve unit. 1 unit can join this model in this way. So you stick a unit with them. It's a bit like the Rune Smiter and his accompanying unit in the Magmic Tunnel. This looks a bit different at the end of movement phase. So it's got the classic 9-inch bubble away from enemy units. And you can also then set up the model in ambush that joined it wholly within 12-inch. So again, we're following the Fire Slayer meta here. 9-inch from enemy units, reserve units in ambush, and not set up on the battlefield before the start of the 4th battle round are destroyed. Fairly classic stuff. We got the Mighty Throw in here. This model can run and still shoot with its great throwing spear in the same turn. That's cute. In addition, the model's great throwing spear has a damage characteristics of D6 instead of D3, and a range characteristics of 18 instead of 12 if it ran in the same turn. Oh, I like it. He takes a run up and lobs this thing. That's it. That's brilliant. I mean, when would you not run? I mean, you'd
always
off
run.
Inch.
Unless you want to charge, but you don't really want to stick
charge.
him in combat. So
Yeah,
you
but-
can probably just always run him.
I just love the idea he's got that real, like, Olympics thing going, where he does a little run up and just lobs the spear.
It would be a waddle up, wouldn't it?
Sweet. And then the command ability, Lead the Skull. You can use this command ability at the start of your combat phase. If you do so, pick 1 friendly Frost Saber unit. I see where you're going with this, Luke. It's got to be wholly within 12-inch of a friendly model with this command ability. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to attack characteristics of the unit's melee weapons. So okay.
With this command ability, it's you can keep doing it. So you can just keep however many command points you have. So this block of 12 Sabertoss we've got in this army. Suddenly you can just keep giving them 12 attacks.
Okay.
For every command point. So it's this combo. So he's your general. So then you give him the command trait that.
Yeah, because that's interesting. It's not saying that you can't affect a unit with that more than once, because we've seen that in a lot of the later books where they're saying you can't do this. Because
all of them.
I mean,
actually,
obviously,
I think.
well, yeah, because I mean, the only one of the notable exceptions inside
Beast
Beast of Chaos, where you can use the Chaos Spawn to give you the +1 attack, and that does stack, so can be used to great effect. You're putting 2-3 additional attacks on unit of Zangors, they can be quite deadly, or unit of Skyfire is even better when you go to the disc. So
Surprisingly deadly, one would assume.
One is acutely aware of how deadly that becomes. But yeah, so we've got a similar command ability. This is where if you've got enough command points when you bring these guys down,
You can just feed them all into that
you
one
can
unit.
feed
and
them
just
all
watch
into unit.
them.
All right, Luke, you've been flipping through pages like crazy. This is where
So
you
just
start.
getting the combos ready.
This is where you start adding the combos up.
So,
Yeah, come on in.
the trait, the hunter, you want to give him the Winter Ranger. So at the start of your hero phases, if this is general, in ambush, you gain D3 additional command points.
I see
So
where this is going.
you have to come down in turn 3, otherwise he's dead.
Yeah, so you've got 3 turns to build up a deck of command points.
Yeah.
D3, you're going to average 2 per turn.
So you
But
get
yeah,
6.
you're looking somewhere between 3 and 9, and on average, you're looking at 6 command points when you come down in turn 3. Because yeah, it's at the start of your hero phase, and you're coming down in movement. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. All right, I'm coming down with 6 command points. I've got 12 dudes.
And then you get a battalion as well for your hunter and your saber tusks
Yeah.
to make you a bit of a lower drop.
Oh,
All
okay.
All those, you can put all those units 2 to 10 frost sabers units can go in this. The
Right.
hunter goes in this, and this it just gives you an additional +1 to charge. And the saber tusks, if we go to their scroll now, they have add 3 to the charge. So you teleport 9 away, and you +4 to your charge.
And this is all about the hunter. Add 3 to the charge roll if this unit is wholly within 16 inch of a friendly Icebrow hunter when the charge roll is made, which you are going to be in there because you've just dropped down 9 inch away from an opponent and you have to be wholly within 12 inch of the Icebrow hunter. So, okay then, how does this stack up
So you
then?
need a 5-inch charge, basically.
We're dropping in on turn 3. You need to roll 5 inch to cover that 9 inch distance because you got +3. And we're burning 6 command points onto them to give each one of the Frost Sabers 6 extra attacks. So the Frost Sabers go up to 9.
Well, it's a unit of 12, so there's...
Yeah, but individually, the Frost Sabers going up to 9 attacks each.
Yeah.
4s to hit, 3s to wound though, -1 rend, -1 rend and 1 damage.
So it's just effective damage with the rend. So, I mean, it's 240 points for a unit of 12, so it can do a lot of damage for a cheap unit.
Yeah, it could. What are we looking at? We're looking at 72 attacks, is it? How many? No, we said 9. 9, didn't we?
So 6 command points would be 120 attacks.
Yeah, 120 attacks.
So it's like 60 hit.
And these things are only on the smallest cav base.
Yeah.
And they're quick. And you've got that +3. What's their piling? There's no rule on piling, is there?
No.
No, but the range of their attack 1 inch. Okay, so yeah. You'd be working quite hard to... Mind you, then again, if you drop down, you literally could encircle a unit just... No, you got to be wholly within 12 inch of your Icebrow Hunter. I'm just thinking how well you can do that drop down, but yeah.
Well, because of it's at the start of the combat phase, the command ability. You obviously go 6 and then 6, and then when you pile in, you push them all forwards. You should get most of them in, depending on what you're charging.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just one trick in the list. You can't. Yeah, I wouldn't say you rely
you
on
can't. Yeah, you can't
because
build.
you'll probably be using your command points on the big guys, getting their reroll once to hit, or maybe they need that extra charge or reroll.
But you're not only stacking those. I mean, you could still reserve, some of those command. Again, it depends how well you roll. If you roll 3 on a D3, followed by 3 on a D3,
might bring him down turn 2.
You could bring them down turn 2. Depends how desperate you are. Turn 2 and even 2 extra attacks, which you'll do in turn 2. That's your average, is 2 extra attacks. Oh wait, no, you got turn 1 as well, haven't you? It works in turn 1, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you might.
So you literally could be coming down in turn 1 with a unit of Frost Sabers on 5 attacks. It's not. It's not amazing. I'm just saying, if you're cornered and the opponent's got on top of you, then you can just go, and if they've gone first, you could come down in turn 1 and go for the double.
Yeah.
It's a shame though to give up that command point generation if he did come down in turn 1, isn't it? But
yeah.
Like you say, there's a risk of it being a one-trick pony. That's the only thing, isn't it? But it's not the list. It's 240 points plus... What is the Icebrow Hunter sitting at?
120, so it's like 360. It's cheaper than...
360. You've got so much room outside of that. That's just a really effective 360-point unit.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Let's have a quick look at the chat. We've got another 15-20 minutes of the show. You got any more in there, or...
Well, I just filled the list out with other effective units like the Gorger and the Yetis the Yetis now have got a 6-inch pile in.
Well, let's have a look at that in a minute,
yeah.
and we'll talk about the 6-inch pile in, because I'm very scared of 6 inches piling in. After playing against your Bloodthirster list. What have we got here? Let's just see. No trappers. Oh wait. What do? Batteries on 70%. What have we got here? Toby Thomas. Can't wait to take my ogres to the next tournament. Toby, what are you doing with ogres? I thought he was all about green spike kits.
No, he was on about doing something different with Potter, wasn't he? And he wanted to do something bulkier, so he's dusting off his ogres.
All right, Toby, you do your ogres. The scarecrows in there. No trappers aren't available anymore, and it makes me sad. Okay then, well, yeah, and I think building 60 of them off eBay is probably not gonna. They probably only ever sold 60 in the entire history of the model. Hey there, beautiful people, says Frost. What else have we got in here? Who's behind the keyboard tonight? That'll be me, but I've not done much in terms of entering stuff. Oh no, he's talking to somebody else. Demon Lizard from Outer Space. My Wild Riders are mounted on Fenrisian Wolves also. They're a great model. I really like the Fenrisian Wolf. That scroll is way too fast though, so I've lost everyone. What have we got going off here? Who cares? Get them all in every ogre possible. I'm not quite sure what that means. Coleman says, at Big Rich, I'm growing a cities list slowly, converted some warriors into great swords. They're very sweet. If you've not seen it, check out the community page. Did you see
stilts.
Coleman's little dwarves on stilts? It's very cute. There we go. And Thordalim says, good evening. And Frost and Fist is telling me to just relax, and 6-inch pile in wouldn't be anywhere near as bad. Okay, let's talk about some of these units you've seen before we go any further with that. Yetis. What is it about Yetis?
They're 110 points. You got 12 wounds. Just 3 of them. Just effective. They're quite fast.
6-inch piling.
And they got and it gets around the always striking first and always striking last if you need to get in there.
Are they enough? They're not enough to kill a kipper on their own right though, are they? If you were going to do the kind of 6-inch pile into a kipper, yeah. But again, even if they don't kill the kipper, they can take it down a couple of notches. One would assume, on the wound brackets.
And then have a Stonehorn charge in later doing all those
makes them
wounds.
really less effective. Yeah. So maybe that's what it's about.
But the great thing about the piling is that you can pile in up to that inch, so you don't have to go half an inch, and you can reduce the attacks coming back at you. And it's it's
true.
Good. It's just
true.
They're okay. They're just in there to go down the flanks.
What have we got? 3 attacks, 4s, 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage. So yeah, 9 attacks coming out of a unit of 3. I think the only thing I've got with the Yetis is I'm not a massive fan of the model.
No, you'd have to try and think of something.
You'd have to think of something else.
Maybe the Forge World Wolves, those werewolf
Skin
things.
wolves.
Skin wolves or something like that. That would actually work really well with Jack's army, of course, going with the
wolves.
The wolves from, with his Fenrisian wolves and all the rest.
Or something.
There you go, Jack. If you're tuning in, check out that. I'm expected to see these things at the next tournament now. He just needs to get hold of 60 Noblars, doesn't he? Any other units that caught your eye?
So I put a Gorger in the list. He's just another. He's got the teleport ability.
5 wounds, 6-inch move, 6+ save, bravery 8, long claws, 4 attacks, 3s, 2 damage, good again. Distendable jaw. Is this? I've not seen this model. So this is an ogre with a big mouth,
old.
yeah. And he's got 1 attack, 3s, -1 rend, D3 damage. You can re-roll charge rolls for the unit, nice, but instead of setting the unit up on the battlefield, place it to one side. It's set up in ambush in reserve. If you do so at the end of your first movement phase, you set the unit up on the battlefield more than 9 inch. Okay, he's just dropping down. What do they come in unit size? Is that just one?
That's just one, but again, they got the Ogor keyword, so they count as 2 models for objectives.
Oh,
it's just like the Heart Renders. It's just got something there just to go on an objective when you need it.
I forgot about ogres counting as 2. What about some of the monsters? What do they count as? Have they done that?
I think, don't they? Or is it 20 models?
Let's have a look. I didn't
something
really
crazy.
look into it.
It's something crazy for the big monsters.
Oh, is that in the
It'll be in Allegiance ability.
Allegiance ability, is it? Of course. So what have we got?
Go more into this.
We're trying to find it now. 10 or 20 models instead of one. Ogre Hero.
Yeah, so the Ogre Monster counts as 10 instead of 1.
Either 10 or 20 model instead of one.
So
That's just showing you an example, I think, on there.
Ah, okay, right. So, yeah, that's useful. Do you think we'll see more of that in some of the lists that have got big monsters in?
I hope so. I think just doing that, so a lot of the War Scrolls brings more models out.
Yeah. I mean, it would certainly help. Rather selfishly, it would help with my Magma Drop. And it would help with my, Tree Lords. Because you always feel like, well, it's just the big bases, isn't it? You can get outmaneuvered when you've just got one tiny goblin holding an objective against a Tree Lord. You've got to feel this kind of balances that out a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It kind of evens out those armies, but maybe when it's an allegiance ability, it's a bit of a shame when everybody gains their allegiance ability, I suppose, because that's part of what they're about, maybe. But okay, anything else?
I mainly looked into that side of things. Just maybe go into October next year. You wanted to do something with the orcs and
it could do. Yeah,
that would fit well with them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's interesting because what I've wanting to do for my next tournament army. So my next tournament army, I should state that because that doesn't make any sense either, does it?
I'm just confused as the audience.
We've got the Throne of Skulls in February. My army for that is Fire Slayers, and I'm working on a couple of extra units for that. What's great about that, if you've not seen that tournament, what's great about that is you get a custom commander. So that's just a nice little hobby project where you can create a cool dude.
Yeah,
and
cool.
You've got it's got a flat stat line for everybody. It's not half bad. It's like a 6-inch move. It's hitting on 3s. It's wounding on 3s. Can't remember the damage it does. I think it's just 2 damage, is it? There's no rend though. -1 rend.
I think there's
-1 rend. It's a pretty good dude, and it's free, of course. But everybody gets this.
Yeah.
But where it changes, of course, it ignores everything on the 4-up, 3-up. Ignores all wounds on the 3-up. But where it really gains then is you choose one of 6 options to modify that character, and it can be additional move or +1 to hit, +1 to wound,
+4 to move.
+4 to move. I've gone for the magic, being Fire Slayers. I've built a custom little Rune Lord model, so the idea is just to give me a bit of magic into the list, really. And really, that's not necessarily about casting magic, that's more about being able to shut down an endless spell when you've got low-moving armies like Fire Slayers. Something like the Scuttle Tide or something like that.
And potentially a teleport, depending on which realm you're in as well.
Yeah, of course, it gives me access to the realm spells. And again, when you're like Fire Slayers or you're a non-magic army, it really feels like you're missing out on some of those things. Because realm spells, I've won games just on a realm spell.
Yeah.
They're really worth reading, So that's this tournament. The next tournament is the doubles, of which I'm building a Beast of Chaos army up for. And you guys have seen some of the previews of some of the models I'm working on for that. So that is the June doubles. And then in the October, I am taking...
Well, we're not 100%, are we? It's just an idea.
Actually. So the idea is probably taking Oryx / Ogres.
Yeah.
For me, it's one of the first armies, if not, in fact, actually is the first fantasy army I ever had, all started around a unit, an old regiment of renown called Harboff's Black Mountain Boys. And Harboff Black Mountain Boys was, we're talking lead models, and Harboff was the leader, and he was like head and shoulders above the rest of the orcs, and he had massive chunky arms, just arms folded, with a kind of woolly rimmed hat with 2 horns sticking out of it. It was just absolutely beautiful. So obviously those models, I've still got Harboff somewhere. The model's still lying around, and in fact I've still got some of his Black Mountain Boys. But what I wanted to do was an Age of Sigmar reincarnation of Harboff and the Black Mountain Boys. So I had this idea of an orc tribe, an Orc tribe that lives up in the mountains. They live on goat, basically, and other fatty foods. So they've got a bit. They're not quite as toned as the rest of the Aurochs, basically. So my plan is to use ogres as my conversion base for the Black Mountain Boys. And again, this is obviously 40mm base. There's no way you're going to fit those on the 32mm base. So I've got to be the kind of Iron Jaws brutes. Yeah, exactly. That's where I've got to be at. but I was going to use a stone horn with converted wings to turn into a Maw Crusher. The only thing is, this book's come out, and I'm like, actually, I could still do that, and I don't necessarily have to use the Orruk book, do I? You know, I kind of do. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could just be green-skinned ogres.
That's why I mean, ogres was my first ever fantasy army.
Yeah.
But I tried to go that way because then you can use the ogre models because I'm not using them. I can
True.
just go hunters.
You're going to go hunters.
Tusks, maybe turn them into little goats.
That'd be
or
really
something.
cool, actually. And I'll go the Orruk
Just make it
Battletome.
all look like one army.
So they're going to have, you know, like a bit of a dark green skin because it kind of harbour off like Mountain Boys. They had quite a dark skin in. Well, it depends. I'm going back to some of the old like Jez Goodwin days and stuff like that in the painting. So some of them were bilious green, you know. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's a nice little hobby challenge to do, like a stone horn turned into a Maw Crusher.
Stone Crusher.
Yeah, Stone Crusher.
Stone
And the plan is to use the I can't remember the name of the unit now. The Ogre Cavalry.
Mournfang.
Mournfang.
Let's go
But I'm going to mess around with them and turn them into giant,
Goats.
bulky mountain goats.
Well, it won't be ogre Morphang, it'll be Gorgrunters.
Well,
Into
exactly.
goats.
They'll become gore grunters, but the idea is to turn them into giant mountain goats. Basically, is the plan. So, all behind the massive Zeech army I'm working on right now. So, we'll hopefully get there. That's going to be what it's focused around.
It's truly a big zine army.
Yeah, but I've also been progressing my Gene Stealer cult in the background as well, so I want to get some 40k games in soon as well, especially if we're doing battle reports again. I just want to kind of finally get those Gene Stealer cults on the table, really. They're such a cool army. So I think there's kind of, they're I think my 3 main projects for next year. Finish the Zeech, which I've made a hell of a start on this year. Do the ogres, the Harbor Black Mountain Boys, possibly by the end of the year, rounding back round to Gleamspite. Who knows?
Yeah.
Gloomspite.
It's nice to have plans. It's nice to have plans and ambitions. Maybe we should do a show where we actually look at everybody else's plans for next year. So we'll have a look. Okay, what
do
do we?
shows into the conversions of stuff.
Yeah,
How to convert them.
I mean, there's been a lot going off on the desk in terms of conversions. I almost didn't. You know what? I'm going to show my commander. Why not?
Could show
Let's do
the orc as well.
Yeah, we got an orc going off as well. So can we? Let's have a look at this. Da zoom, that big zoom. Okay, so waiting for it to focus. It's not going to focus. Hello. Let's get that book out of the way because I think that's what's causing focus issues. So there you go. That is my. It's definitely still not focusing, is it? Which is a bit weird. That is my. Shall I make room for your guy? So this is my commander. He will also double up as a Rune Lord. But he's my super pumped, power armoured, which is why he's got a 6-inch move. You know, it's just driving his legs that little bit quicker.
The MacLeod.
Yeah, he can do a bit of magic because sneakily Sigmar gave him a modified Master Rune Staff with a little bit of Sigmar magic in there. Look,
The magic bashing stick.
The magic bashing stick. Let's see if we can go a bit wider and see if the focus works. There you are. I think that's cracked it now, hasn't it? So that's that. And what is this nonsense?
Macarena.
Like a garacha, like a garacha. Sorry, that's absolutely brilliant.
It took me quite a long time as well.
It's beautiful. Don't let like a garacha. Yeah, I love that model. It's beautiful, mate. It's absolutely beautiful. Stunning stuff. So there we just broke it. Whoa,
It's such a nice model. I put it in the
Just
bin.
put fingerprint on my green stuff work. So there you go. That's what's going off at the moment. I'm not going to go into the rest of the conversions. I'm working on a Dracoline. Well, it's not a secret. I'm working on a Dracoline unit for the Fire Slayer army. That's going to be Dracoline, probably allied in
Mini
like
Droffs.
that. Mini Droffs. That's the plan with those guys. Dracodroffs.
Dracodroff.
You know
Baby, what are they
That's
called? Baby lords.
Baby lords.
Baby.
Well, what have we got? We got the Rune Father. We got the Rune Son. So Rune babies, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or Rune Grandson, maybe. It's just not. It's
Rune
not.
baby, yeah.
It doesn't roll off the tongue, does it? Rune Grandson. It's just
Rune baby.
Rune baby.
The grandsons.
So the Rune babies. So the Rune Babies, and again, that's just another little custom conversion unit. I think what I really like about the Throne of Skulls in Feb, it's what kind of event do you call that? You call that
Narrative.
a fluffy narrative-based event, yeah. It just makes your skin crawl, does it?
No, I like Throne of Skulls.
Aren't you officially like the 7th best player in the UK, best painter in the UK or something?
What, you go on the painting rankings? Which don't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. I've told myself that. Okay, what have we got in the chat? Let's see. We got runelets. There you go, runelets. We could do with that. That works. What else have we got going off? I think we're about there, aren't we? Evening all. I just thought I'd pop in and see if Age of Sigmar chat could send me to sleep. Bless you, Big Bank Dan Skull. I know that you prefer it when it's 40k, but you know, tonight's been about Sigmar. Right, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. I think we'll call it a night of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, time to relax. See you all later, and well, probably see you next week sometime. Cheers then. Bye.
Cheers.